Let's invite another person who looks at stocks for their numbers. Mayuresh Joshi of Angel Broking has joined us now. Mayuresh, well, there is a bunch of news that is coming in for pharma companies. Any picks in that space?
So morning, Lata. I think for the industry as a whole, I think the FDA issues might still have an upper hand in terms of remedial and remediation costs probably plaguing their P&Ls. But largely, I think if one looks beyond a couple of years, my own sense is that with the strong ANDA pipeline that a whole host of pharma company possesses, I think that should hold them in good stead. Secondly, I think the front loading of R&D costs, because a whole host of pharma companies have also taken a huge amount of R&D expenses. And again, I think if that generates into a strong pipeline going ahead, that would augur well. Now, selectively, I think what we really like from the large cap names is Aurobindo Pharma, Sun Pharma. Our own sense is that Aurobindo Pharma's numbers were exceptional. The management commentary thereof, specifically related to its European business of Actavis, is expected to do well over the greater part of FY 17 and 18. And again, I think the Natrol business is shaping up pretty well. There is a huge opportunity in terms of both the ARV market for Aurobindo and the kind of expectations that the management has laid out with injectable launches of around 15-18 in the coming fiscal. I think that's a very high margin business. So our own sense is that a revenue growth of 15-18% over the next couple of years is not ruled out. EBITDA margin should sustain between 23.5-24.5% kind of a range. And again, I think valuations look quite reasonable. So I think Aurobindo Pharma is something that I'll retain very optimistic.
Okay, Mayuresh, hi, good morning. Your thoughts on a couple of stocks which did well yesterday: Engineers India and Indocount, which has been very volatile.
So morning, Anuj. I think I have been very optimistic on Engineers India for a long time. And again, I think the kind of capex that the OMCs are embarking upon, I think that is a very positive trend for a stock like Engineers India. A whole host of orders will pass through to the company, and again I think it is sitting on a very reasonable order book. So the next 2 to 3 years, my own sense is that with large orders coming through at good margins and better execution taking place, the company can show very good operating performance. Secondly, I think the balance sheet itself is very strong. I think cash rich balance sheet, you'll probably look at even a good amount of dividend yield being played out. And thirdly, I think in terms of their overall asset turns, I think the asset turn should improve significantly. So my own sense is the stock can continue doing well. Investors holding on to stock should continue holding. For Indocount specifically, Anuj, I think they've been successful in reducing debt. So a large portion of their finance costs have basically come down. There is a huge amount of concerns that have probably come out with what has happened with Welspun India. But largely, I think the company is falling into bed linens. And again, I think the kind of top line growth that we've witnessed over the past few quarters, if the company is successful and as the management is indicating that they are properly confident of maintaining that top line growth, I think the stock can do well in terms of multiples. But again, I think the stock has moved up significantly over the past few months. I think one must wait for significant declines onto these counters.
Okay, we'll have to do that. Yesterday, of course, we had a fairly detailed discussion, and Indocount did tell us that they don't have any ripple effects of this problem. But let's see how Welspun itself weathers the storm. Today, they've got news that IKEA is not changing its contract with Welspun, but they are watching the specification, watching the details and how the issue will pan out in terms of the accusations made by Target and the checks being made by other suppliers, other buyers of Welspun bed linen. We'll take a break. We have to come back and get cracking on the F&O space as well.
indicate the FIs are selling in index futures, third consecutive day of selling in index futures. Yesterday was a sell figure close to the tune of 260 crores and about 7,900 short contracts. With this, in the last 3 trading sessions, they've added almost 40,000 short contracts in index futures. But if we marry that data with the rollover data that has come by, August to September rollovers have been high, indicating that perhaps these shorts are for the next series and not this one. There was also an 1100 crore worth purchase in index options, more puts bought than calls, about 16,000 long puts and 10,000 long calls. But today is expiry, and the key levels we'll be watching out for is 8650 and 8600 and 8700. Why? Because perhaps the smart money could be looking into eating into the premium at 8650 straddle, which is a call and a put together. Together it would be around 55 rupees worth, indicating that the expiry range could be 85.95 to about 87.05. If we had to broaden that, another trade that could be playing out is selling an 8600 put and an 8700 call. Together the premium would be around 20-22 rupees, which would indicate an expiry range of 85.80 to 87.20. As far as stocks are concerned, fresh long seen for the second consecutive day on Engineers India. Torrent Pharma also saw a lot of long build up, as well as Voltas. Fresh selling seen on Lupin, while Indocount, remember after the management interview yesterday, the stock did surge and we saw some shots running for cover there.
All right, thanks a lot for that neat summary, Mangalam. Let's get the expert in. Manoj Mulidhar of Religare Securities has joined us now. Manoj, first, how do you trade the Nifty today? Do you trade it at all?
Good morning, Lata. Lata, I guess Mangalam just nailed it. You know, the data, what you are saying is more or less precisely what we feel the FIs are doing. You know, 8650 straddle they are selling, and possibly it's at a 55 to 60 rupees premium, but they are actually doing it since last 3 days, so that was around 90 to 88 rupees. I feel the resistance for the Nifty today is somewhere close to an 87.10 to 87.20 more or less. So I would suggest selling a September 8900 call option. Try and sell it between a 60 to 65 rupees, a stop loss of 84 for a target of 20. Lata, unfortunately, I feel the up move in the Nifty would terminate in the next 1 or 2 days, and we are expecting the Nifty to come down to an 83.20 eventually, and the Bank Nifty might be correcting to 18,400. So the view for the September is we are expecting that it has become a sell on rise market. We are seeing FI smartly taking out the money out. You know, when you do an arbitrage, the mode in which they buy into the market, they buy in the cash market and sell in the stock future. But if you look into the quantum of selling into the stock future, it is a net money out of the market and not really putting the market in. We are expecting some money to come into the bond market. Now that is nothing to do with the equity here, but then I feel that the Bank Nifty might underperform. It is the pharma as a sector which we might see some traction today and possibly the first fortnight of September. So the strategy here for the Nifty would be to sell 8900 call option. For the Bank Nifty, sell Bank Nifty between 19460 to 480, stop loss of 610, and we are expecting a target of 19180, at least possibly today itself.
Manoj, hi, good morning. You said pharma stocks and you have 2 buy calls in that.
Absolutely, Anuj, I like Star. Good buying is seen, and we are seeing the most important part is the VWAP concept works here. At an every average we are seeing good delivery based buying which has happened. So 965 I would recommend buying that even on the futures, or you can go with the cash market buying as that with a stop loss of let's say 948 on that, and we are expecting a target of 998. The second topic would be an Ajanta Pharma. Let's say we buy it close to 2000 with a stop loss 1978, and we are expecting a target of 2090 on that as well.
Okay, Mayuresh, I just wanted to ask you about whether you would back any of these infrastructure companies now, because we did break a story a while back that there could be some payment relief for some of these infrastructure companies that have had stuck projects. Any of these names on your list? Because Punj Lloyd, for example, is a stock that rallied quite a bit yesterday.
Morning, Sonia. But again, I think one really needs to understand the shape of their balance sheet. I think highly leveraged, the kind of interest and finance costs that go out of their P&L quarter after quarter probably is not giving a sufficient amount of comfort level to long-term investors. Third, I think there might be some amount of relief coming through orders getting through on their balance sheet. But again, I think these are long gestation orders. It takes a long time for these orders to probably start emanating into cash flows. And again, I think the front loading of expenses on their balance sheet probably does not give comfort from a valuation perspective.
Actually, you know, it's not orders that we are talking about. We are talking about stuck payments with the government for contracts long executed but under arbitration. What we understand is that those payments to companies are going to get speeded up, and some 30,000 crores is about almost ready to be paid out.
So again, Lata, I think we've been waiting for this for a long period of time. So actually let it come and flow through onto these companies' balance sheets, and then we'll probably take a call. But again, I think the leverage is what I'm talking about is not very comforting at this point of time. So I think the theme that I'll follow is the EPC theme. I think the EPC theme is something that we probably like even at this juncture. And the kind of orders that is expected to come both from NHI and MORTH, I think this sector is expected and is poised to do well in terms of both order wins, greater margin orders, the execution thereof is seeing some amount of improvement, and if that shows significant trends of increase, my own sense is that the leverage will play on balance sheet. So I think let the payments come through for all these companies. I think before that, I think it's very, very difficult to take a call on what kind of an impact it will probably start having on the balance sheet, whether the deleveraging impact will play out, and how I think that will take into account the stock valuations going forward.
All right. Well, the rupee opening is flat as flat can get. It was 67.10 when we went to bed yesterday, 67.09 at this point in time, and stock markets are not giving us any direction just yet. Nifty is down 0.7, which is a completely incredible number, unbelievable number, and some of the rates are not even worth reading. Bajaj Auto up 10% and stuff like that. So I think we'll just wait for the market.
I think some of the mid-cap rates are believable. We can look at that. So Man Infra, for example, is up 5% with decent volumes. That SP Apparels is a stock that will be in focus post numbers. I don't know if Indiabulls real estate will play out like that, but that's also an interesting stock to watch out for. And let's pull out the stocks of HCC and Gammon and see how they are reacting to the news. It's a positive news flow, so 2.5% higher for HCC in pre-open.
A couple of more stocks. Infinite Computer Solutions is reacting to its numbers. It may not be such a big up move, but you know, the margins for the company have improved a tad bit. So that's a stock that you need to keep on your radar as well. And then you have, apart from Man Infra, a couple of others like PNC Infratech that had a strong quarter this time around. The margins expanded quite a bit, so that stock too is up almost about 2% or so.
All right. Let's just take some more chart checks with our guests. Sudarshan, is there anything else that is coming into your ken? I mean, how would you trade Larsen & Toubro, for instance?
Oh, I would buy in Larsen & Toubro, and that's just for a couple of days, maybe today and tomorrow. Any weakness in the morning, and it could easily have been a short sell, but that would result in an early morning weakness, and that's a buying opportunity.
Sudarshan, why the glasses though?
Oh, thanks for asking. The markets are so confusing. I thought maybe this will help.
Well, we like the new look, Sudarshan. Makes you look wiser. You are wise, but makes you look much, much wiser.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Mitesh is smiling. Mitesh is already wearing glasses, so he's wise anyway. But Mitesh, any thoughts on how to approach some of these pharma stocks that have had a really good run? We spoke about Aurobindo Pharma, but Torrent Pharma has been the other one. Divi's Labs has been sitting at an a new high on almost on a daily basis. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, so I think Torrent has been covered, but from a trading point of view, what interests me is Aurobindo Pharma. We discussed that yesterday as well. I think that started a trend, and the other thing is Divi's. As you rightly pointed out, it's been making newer highs, clearly showing outperformance as well as strong trend on the upside. So any declines, any corrections, I think should be bought into Divi's. I think we are looking at positional targets of around 1420 to about 1450 in the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay, Ashwini, a word on some of these metal names. Vedanta is at new 52-week high. Tata Steel closer to 52-week highs. How would you approach them?
See, the strong uptrend continues. The best stock out there is probably JSW Steel, but even the rest of them, I think easily another 10 to 15% rally is possible, provided the market breaks out towards the upside. So metals is one of those spaces where you keep buying the dips.
Okay, well actually one more stock check before we get to what our bullseye participants are recommending. India Cements, I mean it's a chart, it's a mind-boggling chart. We should pull up a 1 year or maybe even a longer chart and it'll give you an idea of how the stock just refuses to climb down. It's a rise from 70 rupees to about 150 rupees in all of I think 4 months or 5 months. You take a shot first, Sudarshan.
Well, it's a buying opportunity, not today. It consolidates and breaks out. So we have to be patient and wait for a consolidation, and then certainly it's probably heading higher, but not today.
Actually, Anuj and Nigel have been pointing out the valuation gap, the very poor valuations that India Cement suffered, and therefore a breakout on fundamental reasons perhaps was always on the cards. But this is like, this is not a breakout. This is almost a stratospheric move that it has shown. Mayuresh, India Cements?
Again, Lata, I think the whole mid-cap cement pack has moved significantly. But what really needs to be seen going forward now is what kind of realizations can actually see an improvement specifically for companies based out of South India. Secondly, I think the kind of utilization levels that a whole host of companies are operating out of, I think it's close to around 70-75% for the sector as a whole. But generally, I think if that utilization levels start inching up, along with stability in realizations, the volume offtake will be the determining factor thereof. So again, I think it's the demand dynamics that will start probably playing out over the next few quarters. And our own sense is that the demand dynamics should play out meaningfully. So utilization levels expected to inch up, realization expected to remain extremely stable. The offtake for cement specifically in South is expected to remain stable and increase at a very marginal pace going forward. So all these factors would probably start playing out for cement companies. So again, I think mid-cap cement as a pack is something that I'll continue to like, but you have to remain stock specific within this space.
Okay, well, for now, the pre-opening rates have stabilized with a gain of about 0.2% on the Nifty and the Sensex. And the top gainer is Aurobindo Pharma. Remember, there was delivery-based buying of 100 crores in Auro Pharma. So that is the top gainer today. But let's get you some more ideas in our segment Bullseye this week. Vijay Chopra, Sameer Chavan and Gaurav Ratnaparki are battling it out for the strongest portfolio. So let's hear out what their strategies are for today.
My first call
Announced to the exchanges that they've entered into an advertising sales agreement with ENI, or Entertainment Network of India, and they say that through this they will appoint ENI as an agent of TV Today to facilitate the sale of TV Today's network airtime to third parties who wish to advertise using TV Today's network. So they haven't given any financials at all, but for now all they've said is there's an advertising sales agreement.
Okay, I just want to get some more numbers out of the way. I know you even pointed out to the performance of Man Infra in the pre-opening rates. Well, Mayuresh, do you track any of these? The numbers look very good. Man Infra's profit has doubled from 6 crore year ago to 12 crore. Then there is PNC Infra, who's moved from 22 crore to 54 crore. Any thoughts on any of these?
So again, Lata, I think, as I said, I continue liking the EPC theme, and PNC Infra is something that I'll remain optimistic about. The numbers were quite reasonable in my opinion, and again, I think the kind of order book that PNC Infra has got, 5,500 odd crores. Look at the margins that they've probably posted for FY16, 17% on the operating front, 9% PAT margins. The working capital days have actually come down to 92 days, and they're expecting huge amount of operating efficiency to continue on that front. The debt is entirely on their port projects, and all of their port projects are operational at this point of time. And as I mentioned earlier, I think EPC and the kind of expectations that one has from NHAI and MORTH, 15,000 odd kilometers expected to be awarded for this fiscal, and the management itself is very, very confident of winning orders above 4,500 odd crores. So if they continue this trend and the execution thereof improves, my own sense is that the operating margins will improve going forward as well. And valuations, again, not too expensive at this point of time. So PNC Infra is something that I'll continue to be optimistic.
Okay. Well, actually, Manoj, we haven't gone through your entire list. You have Reliance Communications as well on your strategies.
Right, Lata. I guess it qualifies into VWAP because there is a lot of open interest which is to be rolled, and we are not really seen traction in the last 3 days. So I guess it might be a long unwinding. We are expecting the same to happen for the Bank Nifty as well. So outcome would be a sell, let's say of 53 to 54. We would recommend selling that with a stop loss of 56, and I'm expecting a target of close to 49 in that.
So that's Reliance Communications. Well, the pre-open rate settled with the decent rates, actually 8668 on the index. So it will be important to see if there's follow-up, because A, there is expiry, and anyway 8700 is seen as a bit of a ceiling, and B, global markets haven't really given positive cues, and we have seen cash market volumes also come down a lot. So today's move purely will be on expiry, but it will be interesting to see if there's some kind of follow-up. Ashwini, your top conviction call for the morning?
I think Moil would be that call. That's a buy with a stop of 260 and look for targets of 282.
Okay, well, I wanted to ask if Sudarshan has any call on Oro Pharma. It's up 1.2% again in pre-opening.
Well, Oro Pharma is in a very choppy environment, so I don't have an intraday or day trading or swing trading call, but the pattern suggests that a big move is coming. If you are a positional trader, it's worth buying into and waiting patiently. You could get 900 plus.
Okay, and just a word from Mitesh. Mitesh, any of the tech stocks, it does look like HCL Tech today is in a fine spot after the analysts meet. But anyway, charts on tech stocks?
In fact, HCL Tech is the only stock, which slightly is better placed. I would say I would want to see the stock get past 804, 805, that being the 200-day average, and I think we can then look at 830 plus kind of targets.
Okay, well, one more stock in focus once again is Welspun India. In pre-opening, it's down another 10%. So now 50% gone in just one trading week. Mayuresh, quick thoughts on Welspun India. At any point, does it become a buy, or would you just stay away from this stock and this space?
No, stay away, Sonia. I think let those clarification notes come through. Not getting anywhere near this stock at this point of time.
Yeah, it's interesting because now the circuit was revised after 20% down circuit to 10%. I think one more 10%, and then the circuit gets revised to 5%. Maybe time has come to let's just have one day where the stock finds its value, stabilize, and then move on instead of these fake circuits, which I mean, of course, news driven, where it does not really make too much sense. That will be the interesting bit.
Just a word from Ashwini. If it starts at about this 8670 levels, Ashwini, you are selling at those levels and you buy only above that 8685?
See, basically 8680, 8700 needs to be crossed for the market to make an up move, a solid up move. Otherwise, this will be a sell on rally market, and post the initial gap up, you will find selling coming in at around 8680 kind of zones.
But sell on rally and buy on dips as well, Ashwini, or just selling all rallies?
So yes, it's a contracting market, so if we get closer to 8620, there you would probably like to buy into this market. I don't expect great earth-shattering moves to happen today.
Okay. Well, the market at this moment looks like a green opening, but of course we will have to wait and see how long it's able to hold on to this position. I don't know if any of you are tracking a smaller stock like Sanghi Industries. That's another stock that's done extremely well this month. Mitesh, you want to take a jab at it?
In fact, fortunately, I've been tracking this one. I think it's made a fresh 52-week high. I think it's broken out of a good range of 75 to about 65, which it's doing for the last 3 months. And on a broader chart, I think, a bigger range of 45 to 75 has been broken. I would look at targets of around 105, 110 over here. Buy it at current levels, any dips to about 78, 77, add more and keep a stop below 74.
Okay, since we have 40 seconds, Sudarshan, a quick check from your end on HCL Tech. It had an analyst meet yesterday. Things were positive, but what are the charts looking like?
The charts are upbeat, and that's the only, I heard Mitesh say it and I'm repeating, it's the only IT stock where buying is justified, even today.
Okay, well, that's on HCL Tech from our two tech gurus. The market's poised to open about 0.2. I don't think in 13-12 seconds we are going to get another advice from them, but we have plenty of stocks, and I would even watch for the banking stocks. As Sonia pointed out, a good payment cycle is good for infra, but much better for the banking companies. So let's see whether Bank Nifty gets any lift from it. Sensex is opening as pre-markets indicated about 0.1, 0.2% higher, and the Nifty Bank as well is just keeping in step with the big boys. What are the stocks that are doing well? Oro Pharma continues to be one of the top performers, 1% higher as the pre-markets indicated. HCL Tech as well, as all of us have been pointing out, the analyst meet has done something good for that stock for today at least. Bajaj Auto up about 0.9. Eicher Motors as well has got some positive brokerage comments as well.
They've in fact raised their prices on their products, so that just shows the strength of the brand. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's another 1% added to that one. What are the banks doing? Axis is higher. I thought I saw Bank of Baroda also in the green. The Bank Nifty generally is nose ahead in terms of being 0.3% higher, just a little bit ahead of the Nifty itself. And the metal stocks also are doing well, which again is usually moving synchronous with the corporate banks. what is not doing well is actually a small handful, and even that is flat actually. NTPC, Wipro, Bharti Infratel, Infosys, Grasim, Idea Cellular are stocks that are down but 0.1, 0.2. So this is a rather green market. Sonia, mid caps any better?
Yes, a very good opening for the mid-cap index, up about 0.3%. The advance decline ratio is at 3:1, now 4:1 in favor of the advances. A lot of stocks reacting well to their numbers. So PNC Infra is up 11% on the back of a healthy set of numbers from the company. In fact, the margin expansion for PNC Infra was solid to about 24%. Man Infra is the other one, 2.5% higher on Man Infra, so that's looking quite good. You have a couple of stocks, Infinite Computer Solutions, that one not only reacting to its numbers, but there's the buyback as well, so up almost about 3.5% over there. You have Ramco Systems, that's one in order. Its Singapore subsidiary is one in order, so that stock too is in the news this morning, up in the green by almost 3.5%. India Cements, a stock that we've been talking about, another new high there, so up to 3%. EIL has rallied another 2% on the back of a 7% rally yesterday. Jubilant Life Sciences is one stock that has been on a tear. It's up 60% just in August. Jubilant Life Sciences now up about 4.5% or so. HCC, in fact, a lot of the the infrastructure stocks on the back of the news that you broke, HCC is one stock that's up almost about 2-3%. On the downside, really don't see too many losers except Wellspun India, another 10% down on that one on expected lines. Reliance Communications slightly in the red. But Anuj, decent opening for the market, lot of green stock.
Yeah, but I'll tell you something, on expiry day, you look at the futures and not the spot. The Bank Nifty future is up only 4 points and the Nifty future is up only 13 points. So this is not a market which, unless, you see by 10 a.m. 8,700 being taken out, that would attract a lot of short covering. But if that doesn't happen, smart money is here to eat option premiums in this market. Even if you look at right now, the 8,700 call premium has collapsed 35%. Even the 8,650 call option has collapsed. So you sell these options and you eat premiums. That's what the smart money is doing. So the fulcrum or the equilibrium is still 8650. As Ashwini said, this is a market where you'll see both sell on rallies and buy on dips play out, unless of course one of the markers are taken out, which is 8700 on the way up or 8600 on the way down. Till then, Nifty remains in this range and you dabble with individual stocks.
Okay, no, that point is taken. That seems to be really almost a unanimous call. Sudarshan, anything fresh that you are spotting in the first 5 minutes?
Well, it does appear, I explained earlier, that the banks, private sector banks are an opportunity. So Axis was in my list, HDFC Bank and the Nifty Bank itself. This is day trading, so you have to manage your trade with proper stops. But I think after 9:30, there's a buy here.
Okay,
okay,
and Mitesh?
I just want to point out a couple of more stocks before we go to Mitesh. Sarda Energy is up 10.5% now. As Nigel told us, the numbers this time looked good. So that's the reason the stock is also spiking up. Sarda Energy up 12% there. And you have AstraZeneca that's down 6% after AstraZeneca UK terminated its distribution pact for the antibiotic drug. So that is down about 6%. You will say.
Okay, no, I was just asking Mitesh if he spotted anything fresh.
I think I would also agree. Axis Bank is one of the stocks which is there on my list, and Jubilant, I think, Jubilant Life Sciences, I think that's one stock which I think Sonia flagged that after 2-3 days of consolidation is breaking out. I think this could be a good momentum buy if you're trading with the 1-2 day perspective. Buy with a stop at 519 for targets of 545 to about 550.
Okay, Ashwini, your thoughts on market opening and any stock that comes on your radar?
See, yesterday's Bank Nifty high was about 19,400, 410, the Bank Nifty futures, and we're just about hanging out there. So in case the market does not take out these levels, then we could probably be staring at a Bank Nifty high for the day. As far as stock calls are concerned, I think Tata Global Beverage has broken out with a 2% move. So tea and coffee particularly have been doing well. So in this sort of a market, that's one space that you can look at.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us with your thoughts pre-market, as well as taking us through the early morning rates as well. The markets, you will have to say, have done better than any of the Asian markets, but on expiry day, I could be talking too soon. Let's do one thing. We will talk about expiry and the trades